Audrey Hepburn was 34 years old when she cut her hair for Sabrina and suddenly looked like a 22-year-old. Coincidence? Absolutely not. The Hollywood hairstylist knew exactly what he was doing, and you can discover that secret too. While women spend fortunes on anti-aging creams, the answer to subtracting years from your face might be literally at your fingertips. The right haircut does not just transform your appearance, it rewrites your whole story. But here's the problem. 90% of women unknowingly choose haircuts that make them look older. It is like using a reverse filter. Every poorly calculated inch adds years you do not actually have. So, what separates a rejuvenating cut from an aging one? The answer goes far beyond what you imagine and has everything to do with facial mathematics that few hairstylists truly master. If you are tired of looking in the mirror and feeling like you lost that youthful spark, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, because today you are going to discover the 5 haircuts that work like a time machine for your face. The first cut on our list breaks every rule you have learned about hair after 40. Why some haircuts rejuvenate? Gravity does not spare anyone, not even Jennifer Aniston, who at 55 still looks 35. But look closely, she never wears the same haircut for more than 2 years. She discovered the secret that most women completely ignore. Facial physics is relentless and works against us 24 hours a day. While you worry about expensive creams, your face is literally drooping millimeter by millimeter. But here's the good news. The right haircut works like an invisible lift that no one notices, except when they look at you and think, "Wow, she looks radiant today." This happens because smart haircuts create an optical illusion that even our own brain cannot resist. So when the hair visually lifts your cheekbones, our eyes automatically interpret that as youth. But most women do the exact opposite. They let their hair grow too long, thinking it will hide their age. The result? A cascading effect that adds unnecessary years to the face. Strategic volume is not about the amount of hair, but where you place that volume. Sharon Stone understood this in her 40s and never got it wrong again. She uses facial math to her advantage. Now you understand why some women seem to be frozen in time while others, well, definitely are not. But wait until you discover the first haircut that can subtract a decade from your face in a single salon visit. Pixie Cut. The Pixie Cut is the style that separates the brave from the hesitant. And Emma Watson proved it when she chopped off all her hair after Harry Potter and suddenly looked like a 25-year-old fashion editor. She discovered that less hair can actually mean more youth, but most women believe the opposite and hide behind inches of hair. So while you think long hair disguises your age, the Pixie Cut is doing the real work, sculpting your face like an invisible scalpel without the plastic surgeon's bill. This happens because short hair in the back and slightly longer in the front creates an optical illusion that even mirrors cannot decode. It literally lifts your cheekbones. The result? You get a swan-like neck you did not even know you had. So the Pixie Cut does not just remove hair, it removes years. But here is the trick no one tells you. The shaved sides version adds modernity, while the wavy version softens sharper features. Halle Berry figured this out decades ago and never missed a beat. She uses the Pixie as a tool of facial engineering. So if you want a haircut that works for you 24 hours a day, but are afraid of looking too masculine, know this: a well-executed Pixie is pure, concentrated femininity. But what if I told you there is an even more powerful haircut, and it does not need to be nearly as bold? Mini bob or short-layered bob. The mini bob is the cut that pretends to be polished, but is actually a rebel in disguise. And Charlize Theron discovered this when she swapped her long hair for a layered bob and instantly looked 10 years younger. She understood that chin length works like a strategic frame, but most women think cutting at the chin will shorten the neck. So while you avoid that length thinking it will make you look boxy, the mini bob is secretly sculpting your cheekbones like a facial personal trainer, but without the outrageous monthly fee. This happens because it adds volume exactly where you need it, at the lower part of the face, creating a lifting effect you will not even notice until you look at old photos. The trick? Fine hair gains a false density that feels like magic. The blunt cut boldly lies about how much hair you actually have, but in a completely convincing way. Taylor Swift used this strategy for years before returning to long hair. She knew the bob was her anti-aging secret. A side fringe or a well-placed front layer acts like analog Photoshop, softening expression lines without anyone noticing. But here is the best part. You can wear it straight, wavy, or styled mess. It is like having 3 haircuts in one. But there is an even smarter cut, one that rejuvenates you without requiring such a drastic change. Medium or long bob. The medium bob is the diplomatic cut that satisfies both your courage and your hesitation. And Reese Witherspoon proved it throughout her entire career, always looking 10 years younger than her actual age. This happened because she discovered that shoulder length is like a hair life insurance policy. But most women over 50 are told by hairstylists to choose age-appropriate cuts. So while you submit to those assigned hairstyles that look like prison uniforms, the medium bob is secretly working like a master of optical illusion, without making you look like you are trying too hard to be young. This happens because it balances facial proportions like an invisible architect, creating harmony where there was just, well, too much honesty. The genius trick? It flatters almost every face shape, round, oval, square, diamond, like a chameleon cut that adapts to your specific needs. So you do not need to do any complex calculations to know whether it will work. But here is the secret. Curtain bangs act like an analog filter that softens everything without anyone noticing. Jennifer Garner never let go of this formula because she knows it works. She uses the medium bob as a tool of social engineering that keeps her relevant with no obvious effort, but with undeniable results. Now, get ready for the cut that breaks every rule you have learned about hair and age. Medium length cut with soft layers. This is the cut that lies better than a politician on campaign, and Kerry Washington mastered this art throughout the Scandal series, maintaining a sophisticated look that seemed natural but was calculated to the last strand. Subtle layers work like invisible magic, but most women ask for just a trim and walk out with hair that looks like it was cut with a ruler. While you settle for stuck-on hair that resembles a badly fitted wig, the medium-length cut with soft layers is secretly adding years of life back to your dull strands, without anyone noticing the intervention. This happens because soft layers on top create movement where there was only monotony, eliminating that helmet effect that instantly ages your look. The final trick? Lightly feathered layers around the face act like real-time Photoshop, softening lines and adding freshness without screaming, "I had hair surgery." So you gain vibrancy without looking like you are trying too hard. And here is the secret. Wavy or curly hair transforms from rebellious to strategically elegant. Salma Hayek never gave up this technique because she knows it works. She uses layers like facial architecture, enhancing natural movement with surgical precision. The volume at the top, combined with lightness in the back, creates a lifting effect she never even has to admit. But there is one last haircut that is so powerful, it can turn even the dullest hair into pure elegance. Long bob with waves and natural highlights. The long bob with waves is the cut that defies the myth that long hair after 50 is off limits. And Blake Lively proved it by keeping her hair long even entering her 40s, looking younger than many in their 30s. This happened because she understood that the secret is not the length, but the texture and strategic highlights. Yet, society insists that mature women should cut their hair as if it were a punishment for the crime of aging. So while you believe long hair makes you look older, the long bob is secretly working like a permanent Instagram filter through waves and tone-on-tone highlights, without making you look like you are trying to be a teenager. This happens because well-done waves create movement that confuses age perception, while honey and caramel highlights act like natural lighting that softens everything. The trick? Well-maintained long hair conveys health and vitality, two things that scream youth without you saying a word. Therefore, the long bob is like having a certificate of hair quality that proves you still have the energy to care for long hair, but without the drama of maintaining waist-length locks. Jennifer Lopez never abandoned this formula because she knows it works. She uses the long bob as proof that she still has time and willingness to be glamorous, but with the practicality of someone who knows life is too busy for waist-length hair. Now that you know all 5 cuts, are you ready to discover which one is your perfect match? Bonus: the importance of color. Color is the silent accomplice that can sabotage or save any perfect cut. And Amy Adams discovered this when she abandoned darker tones for vibrant red that made her look 15 years younger. This happened because she understood that very dark or uniform colors act like filters that harden features, but most women still believe that blonde makes everyone younger. So while you strive to go blonde thinking it will make you look younger, cool flat colors are secretly turning your face into a Greek theater mask, but without the drama needed to justify the tragedy. This happens because warm, dimensional tones, honey, caramel, hazelnut, create depth where flat colors only create, well, visual dullness. The trick? Gray hair can be more rejuvenating than any dye job, as long as it harmonizes with your skin tone. So nature sometimes knows more about beauty than the entire cosmetics industry. But here is the irony. We spend fortunes fighting what could be our greatest aesthetic ally. Sarah Jessica Parker proved this by embracing her gray strands and immediately looking more sophisticated and youthful than when she tried hiding her age with artificial colors. Now you know the secrets, but are you ready for the most important decision? Which one to choose? So now you have the complete arsenal. The pixie cut that sculpts like an invisible scalpel, the mini bob that deceives about density, the medium bob that breaks social rules, the medium-length soft layered cut that deceives better than any politician, and the long bob that defies ageist prejudices. 5 haircuts that function as personal time machines. But here is the truth no one tells you. The perfect cut does not exist if you do not believe you deserve to look amazing. Therefore, while other women settle for age-appropriate cuts, you now have enough information to make smart decisions about your own face. Facial mathematics never lie, but society about mature female beauty certainly does. You just discovered that youth is not a privilege of those who are 20. It is a right of those who know how to use the right tools. If this video gave you the courage to finally make that change you've been postponing for months, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Your most confident version has been waiting for you for too long. The right cut, age irrelevant. Comment below, which of these 5 cuts caught your attention? Your next transformation could be a haircut away, and I will be here to inspire you at every step of this journey toward your best self.